Hello all, Jamie Rodgers here from Craftmania, and today I'm genuinely excited to be bringing you a brand new technique that I've not seen done before and I've come up with, and I hope you're going to love it. It might be out there already, but who knows. But hopefully it'll blow your socks off as much as it has mine and give you some fresh inspiration on ways that you can be using your stamps, your crystal tints, your glitters, and a couple of other ingredients. But of course, if you're watching this video, you probably know this already. We are in January and we are in our Recipes of Inspiration month. And we will be sharing several videos on our Craftmania YouTube channel and of course across our social media channels for you to join in and get some fresh inspiration. And on top of that, we will also be giving you 20% off of all Cosmic Shimmer items on the Craftmania website. All you need to do is pop on, you'll see they're already automatically reduced. No need for coupons, no need for codes. Of course, it does exclude bundle packs because they're already reduced, but all of your individuals, whether it's glues, texture-based, glitters, paints, all the different mediums, 20% off recommended retail price. If you live within the UK, your P&P is completely free when you spend over £5. And if you live internationally, your P&P is capped at just £10. If you want to know any more about it, pop on the website and have a little look under the customer service tab. But before we go any further with today's video, please, if you haven't already, do subscribe to our videos and hit the bell notification so that you know when our videos have been launched. We have lots in the pipework and we will be bombarding you shortly with lots and lots of inspiration, not only under our Recipes of Inspiration January sort of offers and promotions, but several other things coming up too, and we don't want you to miss a thing, so make sure you're going to like that. So let's jump on in and show you the card that we're going to be creating today. This is the card that we're going to be looking at and the technique that we're going to be creating. This to me looks like little mirror tiles, maybe some sort of mosaic, cracked glass maybe, smashed glass, that style of look. And it is so easy to create and so much fun to do, and possibly several versions that you could do of this. But should we jump in and have a little look at what we're going to need? So the first thing we're going to need is a Stazon Ink pad. We're then going to need some type of mirror card, and colour and style and brand even can vary, it's completely up to you. And we're going to need a stamp. So I've gone for our Petal Trio stamp. This is one of the stamps we carry at Craftmania. And at the moment, for the next 7 days, because of this video, it will be on offer. So it's a good time to grab hold of it if you like the look of it. But as I keep saying, these videos aren't necessarily about making you buy new bits, it's about using what you've possibly already got. So I will show you towards the end of this video a few different versions of this card done with different stamps to give you an idea of what you could be creating with products you may already have, or of course more items that you could add into your basket at Craftmania. Now we're going to be using Stazon Ink for this, and I'm going to try and get this nice and juicy because I'm using a bit of an old pad, to be honest. I could do with a new one myself, but we do of course, as always, have those at Craftmania as well, and you will find them on offer at the moment. We're going to take this and we're going to give this good firm push down. Now being truthful with you, my counter is about 9 foot in the air. Okay, slight over exaggeration, but it's quite high. So I'm on my tiptoes and we'll see how we get on. But we want a good impression because this is the bit that is going to frame our next stages. So we'll have a little look and see what we have created. Oh, that looks quite good. We can roll with this one, that'd be fine. So you can see here that we have got our beautiful stamped image. You can see all my lights and all behind the scenes, which I'm sure you don't want to see because it's nothing but a mess, but that is the joy of working with mirror card. So we're going to bring in one that I've already done, only because it's dry. We don't want it to be wet. We don't want this to be able to smudge. So this is one I did a little while ago. We're then going to bring in a piece of a self-adhesive sheet. Now, if you've not seen these and you've not got these in your stash, honestly, game-changing item to have. And there are so many techniques we can do with these. This is literally like double-sided tape, but in sheets. And we do them in packs of 2A5, I believe, or A5. And then we do bigger packs of A5. And then we also do A4. I'm actually using the A4 from Creative Expressions, but all of them pretty much work in the same way. If you ever have a look on the website and you see the woodware ones, they have a grid printed on them and they're blue sheets. They are also designed that the woodware ones will withstand more heat. So if you're going to be bringing heat into the equation, then they're quite good for that. But today we don't need any heat, we just need our self-adhesive sheet to go on over the top of our mirror card. Now I've trimmed mine down intentionally just slightly shy of the edges because I know I'm actually going to be cutting my panel down quite a bit once it's done, so I certainly don't need these edge parts to be covered as well. The top of the self-adhesive sheet, never throw these away. We'll actually use that instead of my tile. I've got a tile already, but we'll use this because these make the great, perfect paint palettes. You can mix on them. You can use them for all sorts. If I'm going to cut double-sided tape down or foam tape down off of the roll, I'll often put it onto here and then put it into my guillotine and cut it 4 or 5 times so I get more strips out of one line of foam tape, saving me a few pennies, and that works really nicely. And of course you're going to get 2 bits because you're going to get the one off the top as well. So now that we've got this, and you can see it's nice and sticky, it's ready to work with, and there are many different techniques that you could be working with just on this alone. You might want to bring in mica powders, for instance, and do some dusting over the top there. You might have a pearlescent powder that you want to put on over the top instead. But today, we are going to be using our lovely Glitterbitz. And we're going to be working with the Frosty Sparkle one, which is the perfect white edition. Look at this. How gorgeous is that? Oh, we like this. So we're going to bring this in, and we're going to tip this over the top of the stamped image. And we're going to make sure that we cover the area. Well, to be honest, again, I'm going to be cutting this down, so I don't need loads of it everywhere, but we'll tip that bit out and we'll give this a bit of a burnish down. Now, I have got very carried away with these, and I've made several cards out of this style already. So mine is getting to the end of my jar now, and I need to get another one of these as well. But I know you're all going to be buying this. When you see this created, you are all going to be jumping online and ordering this because you are going to want these. Now, when we look at this just as you see it here, isn't that on its own absolutely gorgeous? And if you wanted to do a monochrome style card, then you could absolutely do it with just that bit alone. Just pop my excess back into the pot and we'll save that for our next version. But you can see now that we have created that beautiful panel, and we might not actually want to do any more to this, but this wouldn't be a recipes video if we didn't bring in more than one product, would it? So we're going to bring in some crystal tints. Now, crystal tints are normally designed that you're going to use these over acetates and non-porous surfaces. You can use them on porous surfaces, but they're more designed for non-porous surfaces, and they will dry and they will give you like a stained glass style effect. And we've done that several times on different videos and different bits. We also use these for our core in crystal techniques, again working with acetate. So you may well have some of these in your collection. But it is the crystal tints we want. There are pearl tints that come in the same bottle. They're a solid colour. We want the transparency of the crystal tints. And we're going to take these, and we're not going to go directly onto our project. We're going to take them and we're going to use a paint palette, or we're going to use this top sheet, whatever you've got to hand, or one of the palettes or tiles like I was going to. Doesn't matter what your medium of choice to sort of put it out onto is, but we're going to take our colours and we're going to put them down. So I've used the yellow, the orange, the green, and we're going to use the rose, which is the red. And they're going to be our colours to play with. And we're purposely going to take them out and put them over this side, and we're going to dip in to each shade. So as I've just realised I've not brought any water with me, we're going to go from one shade upwards because we should have water and we should wash off with the brush in between. But this is the joy of when you film videos. I always forget something. I often have to confess what I forgot. Today it's water, but it's not the end of the world. So all we're going to do is we're going to bring in our crystal tints and we're going to start painting over the top of the glitter. Now, you'll be amazed how much of the glitter actually takes on this colouring. And I'm sure you could be using other mediums, and you could certainly give it a try with different paints and bits. But because these are so transparent, you still see the stamped image come through, you still see that glitter come through, and it just colours the glitter. So if I bring that up here, even just that one pop of yellow, how lovely is that? And we could leave it at that if we wanted to. We really don't have to do much more. The choice is yours. But we'll go off and we'll do some of the green over the leaves, just because I want you to see the different areas coming together. And you'll notice I'm using a really fine paintbrush because I don't want to go over the edges. And if we load the brush up too much, we may find that it will start to seep over the edge. And again, if we was to use direct from the bottle, although the nozzles are ultra fine, it's a bit more tricky to get into these fine detailed areas and have the control that we want to have. So it might be wise for you to go for a smaller paintbrush. Now I'm not going to do all of the flower because obviously that's going to take a little bit of time, but what I am going to do is I'm going to start bringing in a little bit of the orange, and we're going to go around the edges of the flower, or around the middle of the flower, sorry, and we're going to add in just some orange coming out of there, because we can mix these and we can create our own colours, and we can do that on the palette, or we can do it literally on top of the flower. So just a little bit of orange, not worried if it goes over the yellow, we can always go back and add in some more yellow, and then we're going to start bringing in that red. And this will take a bit of time. You know, you're not going to create this effect in minutes. It will take, you know, a few bits of time to really get it to look as good as you want it to be. But don't rush it, and know that you can go back and add more if you wish to. Now, one of the bits that you're not going to see too quickly necessarily, because it's more as it dries. But as it dries, the odd bits of glitter kind of repel the paint as such, or the lacquer. And you end up with these lovely little crystal bits of the glitter shining through and really bringing out this sort of sparkle with inside the flower. I'll show you on one of the dried ones in a second, or one of the ones I've already created, so it makes a little bit more sense. But I really like how that works and how that looks. Now, your crystal tints, they come in a whole host of colours. There really is a big selection of them. And they're one of them things that I feel once you've started, you're going to want to start building up a collection so that you've got all of them, because there's so many flowers and pictures and bits you're going to want to be creating with these. And I feel that once that you've started this technique, this is going to be one that you're going to do time and time again. As I say, when I started making the samples for this video, I was just going to do one, and I fell in love with it. So I did two, and then I fell in love with that. So I did three. And now today I've got 4 different ones to share with you, and that's only because I haven't had that much time to prepare for today's video. But I have a feeling you are going to be seeing more of these appear on my Facebook page over the coming weeks as I play around with even more stamps and see the different ways that we can create them. Now, as I mentioned, there are lots of colours of this crystal tint. They're all on offer because they're a Cosmic Shimmer item, so you're going to get 20% off of all of them on the Craftmania website if you would like to go on there and order them. And if you do live within the UK, as I mentioned earlier, your P&P is completely free if you spend over £5. Your actual full price for your crystal tints is £3.75. So I know you've got your 20% off to take into account throughout January, but quite quickly you're going to be able to get to the point that you're not paying any postage, which is just exactly what we want, isn't it? Who wants to spend money out on postage and when we could be buying craft products instead? So let's just finish this one off. But don't forget, we do of course ship internationally. So if you live anywhere in the world and you would like to get your hands on these crystal tints, this incredible glitter, or maybe you haven't got Stazon pads where you are, then of course we can send them to you as well. Now, my yellow in the middle looks like it could do with just a little bit more touching up. So I've added in a little bit more here, and we're going to let that go across just so that we blend that into more of a light orange, which I think will actually work nicer than having just the odd bit of contamination. So let's have a little look at what we've created. Now, how gorgeous is that? And how quick, really. Few minutes and I've already done my first flower. Now, as I mentioned, don't overload it because it will spread out a little bit and we don't want that to happen. I also mentioned to you that it doesn't have to be quite as big a piece as that I've created, because this is how it's going to dry and how I'm going to cut it down for my card. Now, hopefully on the dry one, and I'll try and point to some of them, can you see the little flecks in here where they're still quite silver, where the crystal tint has sort of repelled and gone over the edges? I think that is really cool because it gives you that different texture. You can virtually feel it without touching it. It's that kind of texture, it's that kind of difference, and to me, this is going to be a really fun panel for you to work with and create with your projects. So we used 4 colours for this, but lots of them are available. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about was your colour of mirror card that you use. Obviously, this was on our silver mirror card, which again, you'll find on the website under the YouTube tab. But you could, of course, use gold, you could use holographic, you could use coloured. All of them will work very nicely and give you that same incredible light reflection in the reverse, but colour on the top. So it's just a really fun way for you to sort of play around and create different styles. To me, this one's very modern. That one's slightly more old-fashioned, which I really love more old-fashioned items. So I think I'm possibly more drawn to the gold. But let me know in the comments, do you prefer the gold or the silver? Gold or silver, where would you go? What's your favourite? I like how rich the colours look on the gold, but then they do look very crisp on the silver. So you'll have to let me know. Let me know gold or silver. That's your choice or your vote for today. So let's go on to building up our card, shall we? Bringing in some of these bits, and then I promise you I will share with you a few more bits that I've done with this technique so you can see them as well. Now I know you love to know sizes, so let's give you some sizes. We are working on a card blank which is 6.5 inches by 1/4 so 8 3/4. So we know now what we're working for. Now all I need to do is find where I've hidden my glue. I've got it. Honestly, you come into these videos, you try to be prepared, and then before you know it, something's done a runner. So we're going to be using Dry's Clear Cosmic Shimmer Glue. Now this again has got 20% off of it on the website. Comes in lots of different sizes. I'm using the smaller size today just for ease, but you can of course save money in the more that you purchase. They also go brilliantly into the woodware bottles with the ultra fine nozzles, so you can decant it into them and then fill it up as you use it, but you'll have a more precise nib to actually feed it down to your projects if you don't want to use too much. When we're talking about our recipes and mixing things in, this glue is great for being used on acetates to hold down things like pixie powders, pixie sparkles, pixie bursts, all of them sort of mica powder products. If you want to put them onto a non-porous surface such as miricard, acetate, anything along them lines, then this can be the perfect bonding agent to hold them in place. I'm sure you'll find videos on my YouTube channel where I show you how to do that if you've not seen it before. But in short, take some of the glue, pop it down onto whatever surface you want to be using, mist it with water, spread it out with your finger or a paintbrush, and you have got that perfect coverage for then adding on your products, and they will stay adhered to it. Back to this one, we're just going to carry on matting our layers up. So we're going to bring in some coconut white at this point. We've gone for white, black, white, silver, black, and then a piece of coconut white. We're really going to town with this one with lots and lots of depth. We're then going to bring in another black panel to go on the top of this one. And then we'll place our panel on with just a small amount of foam tape just to give it a slight lift on the project. And we can place that down onto here. And then just to finish this one off, nothing too dramatic because I really don't want to take focus away from that sparkle and that shimmer. So I've got a Hello Friend, which is one of our wordies. Now we do lots of wordies and they're all on different topics. So if you've not seen these before, they're great. But they're A5 sheets of printed phrases and words and little expressions that we can bring in, we can add our foam tape onto, and then we can place them on top of our design. And it just gives a little sentiment without it being too bulky, too big, too sort of stealing the show from the product. It's just a nice way to add in them little sentiments. It also saves you quite a few pennies on buying different stamps. Instead of having hundreds of stamps with different expressions on them, you can buy the wordies and then you can just trim out the bits you want. And I think that comes in really handy for things like Halloween, where we might not have hundreds of Halloween stamps, but we can get the wordy sheet and use them instead. And then I've also got a little butterfly. This is one of my butterfly designs, and I'm just going to bring that in and we're going to pop that just going on the edge of the flower. And I've added a little row of eleganza pearls down the middle just to give that a little bit of a posh element to it as such. But that completes our very easy to do technique. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. I want to see if you recreate it. If you take this idea and you run with it, please, please, please share it with me. I love to see what people are creating. I am the nosiest crafter on the planet. So pop onto my group, which is Create with Craftmania and Jamie Rodgers on Facebook. It's a closed group, but you can head on in there and you can share with us anything that you've been creating, as long as it fits within the group rules, so do check them out. If not, Zoe will be after me. She's our lead admin on the group, so I have to stay on the right side of Zoe. But it would be lovely to see what you've been creating if you use these ideas. Now don't forget your stamps, your butterflies, your wordies, your crystal tints, your glitter, your Stazon. That is all going to be found on the Craftmania website. Just pop on and go to the YouTube tab at the top of the page, and if you click that, it'll open up and tell you about this video, and you'll be able to find all of the items you need on that sheet. And then I promised you I was going to share with you a couple more cards, so let's have a little look through these ones, shall we? This is one of the ones I've done exactly the same idea, but this time I've added in the mixed bunch stamp, which again you will find on the same page. I'm trying to lift up my butterfly because I always think they look better with a little bit of depth to them. We've got the mixed bunch stamp going on this time. I've also used the offcut from my sheet and then just placed a die cut word over the top of it, one of my best wishes. But again, you could stamp your sentiment, then do the glitter over the top of it, so it's as encapsulated as the background if you like that idea. And then a couple more to share with you. These are brand new stamps that we've just released, and you can see some of the other colours coming in here. You've got that lovely bright pink going on this one, and on this one too as well. And this one you can see that we've got this lovely birthdays are the best days expression, and we've used that stamp on 4 corners and done exactly the same technique with it again. And then our last one to tempt you with that I've done so far is this one here, which is a slightly larger card, but you can see I've got the flowers going all the way around the outside, and I've painted them in the yellows and the greens from the crystal tints, and it just works really nicely, doesn't it? Doesn't that look beautiful? In the middle you could add more details if you would like to, but it's a really simple way to take a smaller stamp and turn it into a proper focal point, and wow. If you've enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of more of our videos. Don't forget that your P&P is free anytime you spend over £5 within the UK. And don't forget it's capped at just £10 if you're within the rest of the world. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the comments and I will do my very best to answer them for you. The website, of course, is www.craftmaniacrafts.com, and I can't wait to see you all again soon when we have another look at a new recipes of inspiration throughout January 2024. Bye for now.